So it took me a few days before recording this. On Wednesday, the 26th of July, I was coming down the N2, and this guy cuts me off and stops in front of me, and I was listening to my podcast, Dave Ramsey, and I was so confused about what was happening because all of it happened so suddenly, where this car comes in front of me and I thought he knocked me, and he stops right in front of me, and I stopped, and he gets out his car, and he's probably about 45 years old, a white male, and I was like, okay, I think he actually knocked my car. Well, it was my brother's car, and I get out and I go and look if there's anything wrong with the car, and this guy just like went off. I don't know if he was just having like a bad day, but he just went crazy, and he was saying that I was driving slow in the fast lane, and I was so like taken aback in that moment. I literally just told him, like, just get back in your car, there's like, I have no idea what's going on here, just get back in your car, you're really angry. And next thing, he hit me with his right hand on this left hand side of my face, and then I fell down, and he started hitting me some more and beating me, and I tried to tackle him and get him off of me, and then he pushed me into a car, and I sliced my head open over here, and my head was bleeding. And then he just got back in his car. I went to grab my phone, took a picture of his number plate, and yeah, we went to open up a case eventually. But it was so funny when I got back home. I didn't tell Mishka exactly what happened, all the details, because I didn't want to scare her immediately. And I got back home, and she's like busy working on the computer. It was probably about 9:30 a.m. in the morning, and she's busy working and still doing her own stuff. And then she looked at me and she got the fright of her life. But then we went, and I had to go get some stitches done. I had to get 4 stitches in my head, and I thought my thumb was maybe broken or fractured because it was super blue, but it was just sprained. And then obviously this blue eye, or this red eye inside of it, with all this blood that's inside it still. But it was so funny because as I told my family and friends and a few of our close friends like what happened, and obviously that things we had to shift and change plans for the day, and we want to record this YouTube video because we want to become more consistent with this platform and like releasing stuff. This all happened, and I said to Mishka, maybe I should make a video about this in light of like everything that's going on in the world at the moment with gender-based violence in South Africa and the Black Lives Matter movement, because all my family that I spoke to and friends, and even the police officer that we went to see when we laid a case of assault, said to me automatically, they said, was it a black guy or a colored guy? And it was so funny because every time we associate bad behavior or assault or theft or things like that, we think of black or colored people. And everybody's in so much shock when I said it's probably a 50-year-old white male just driving a very nice BMW, and that's who assaulted me. And I got home and I wasn't even upset. I was just like thinking about, did this guy like lose his job? Did his wife just leave him? Like, did he just lose one of his kids? Like, all these different scenarios. Why was he so angry inside of him? And we weren't really going to lay a case, but the doctor that we went to, she was such a nice lady, and she basically spoke me through it and just said that you can't let things like this get away, and unfortunately every action has a consequence. And she was so right. So that's what we did. We decided, okay, we're gonna lay a case eventually that same afternoon. But I wasn't going to. I was just going to leave it and let it go. Mishka said I'll bargain for my death because we're on this hospital plan, but as we got to this mediclinic, I asked the lady how much it's going to cost me, and she said it was probably going to cost about 1,400 or to 1,500. And I said, but isn't there like another GP that I can just go to and like just get it stitched up quickly? Because like I have a high pain tolerance. Like if I just do local anesthetic, I'll be fine. So eventually we found these amazing doctors on 3 Kloof Street, and they were super helpful and basically cost us half the price. so I was able to bargain with the bleeding open head to find a cheaper doctor who could stitch me up for cheaper. Anyway, I don't know if I should be proud of that or not, but that is what it is. But it's so, the main point of this video was the fact that like we need to get out of this mindset of like pinning bad things or bad behavior onto darker skinned people. Like automatically when you hear bad behavior or theft or things like that, you think colored or black. It's further more than just skin color. It's about deep down inside people's hearts, what's going on. So for that man, he was just angry on the inside of him, and never put it past yourself that that could be you. Like that could be someone else committing that kind of crime and action in that moment because they never resolved what was going on inside of their hearts. And when we really delve deep inside ourselves and we reflect and we're conscious and we do all of those things, then we're able to live out of a place where we're making decisions that are not just for ourselves in that moment, but we think further than ourselves. We think further than what's happening in that moment. We think of consequences. We think of what our family going to say. We think of what's going to happen to the other person that's involved. Because if you don't do that, whether you're white, whether you're black, whether you're Asian, whether you're colored, whatever skin color you are prone to be able to commit an assault. You're prone to be able to commit crime. You're prone to be able to do crazy things, because as the human race, I think we're just such dark people inside of us because of this dark world that we live in, that if we're not consciously deciding to be the light in situations, in our families and in our circumstances, that eventually these things just make us feel numb, and either we don't do anything about it, and we just let things go and things become worse. Because I love this quote, I might just put it up on here, but it says, all that it takes for evil to prevail in the world is for good people to do nothing. And I think it's so true, because so many times we think we just don't want to get involved, but it's not that we need to get involved, it's that we need to be the complete opposite. We don't have to always be out on the streets protesting with everybody, but behind the scenes we need to be having conversations and doing things that are opposite to adding negativity to the situation. So yeah, I think that's just was the main reason of this, is like I wanted to share that we want to be consistent with this, but at the same time I think it's so important that we speak about these things in our circles, in our friend groups, and that we start being more conscious about what kind of decisions are we making that ultimately don't just affect us, but they're going to have consequences further down the line. And unfortunately for that man, it's a case of assault, and it's a case of grievously bodily harm in this one, because I had to get stitches and there's consequences to that. And if he stopped in that moment and just thought of that, if I maybe just was more aware of what was going on and just got back in my car and left, like maybe I wouldn't even have been in this situation. Like, I'm not at all just trying to pin this on him, but I play this open cards with what could the other solution have been. And yeah, with all of that, like, let's just be conscious about what's happening. Let's control emotions. Let's control our emotions. Let's control our thoughts. Let's control our actions and our thinking, and ultimately let's control what's going on deep down inside our hearts, because that leads into thinking, which leads into actions further down the line. And let's make that positive and good, and let it add value to the world and to the people around us.